Hello everybody, I am Fuzzyface. Welcome back to another edition of this Motorsport Manager career. We're back today with round 3. We're in China for the Beijing Grand Prix. We've had an excellent start to the season. This season, Esteban Ocon won the first race of the season, pretty much down to Hamilton having some problems with his car. He then had a pretty decent race in the last race. He came in Doha 5th overall. Lando Norris had a really good race, finished 4th overall there, so a really strong performance from our team. We're currently second in the constructors standings. I would expect Ferrari to get above us, but I'm hoping our form sort of continues to be a little bit better than Red Bull throughout the season. Obviously, Red Bull have lost Max Verstappen and have brought in Pascal Wehrlein. Even though Pascal's a pretty decent driver in real life, he's only a 3.5-star rated driver in this game. So Red Bull are a little bit behind where they were last season. Max Verstappen over the first 2 races has only managed to pick up 1 point this season so far with the Force India team. It looks like we've got rain in China, quite a lot of rain for qualifying. There's rain due during the race when that actually comes, and it looks like it's going to be sunny for practice. So all the work we do in practice might be for naught because the qualifying and race are going to be rainy. As it is with the parts in the car, we've had a new gearbox built, so we've got these 2 new gearboxes which at the moment are the same, but this one can go up to a 1315, which is quite a leap forward on the gearbox we've got. We've got these 2 new rear wings built, one that can get up to a 1130. We're currently working on the performance of those at the moment because I can introduce Aero parts in the next race at Tondela. I'm also working on a new rear wing, and I'm hoping to maybe get another one built in time for Tondela because that is the only time that I can introduce Aero parts all the way up until Milan. So if I don't get those new rear wings into the car for Tondela, then I can't introduce them to Milan. So even if they are unreliable, they are going to have to go into the car, otherwise it's going to be 6 races before I can introduce a rear wing. So we might have to take the hit in Tondela, but if I can get them built, that would be good. If we take a hit for the reliability, then that is just something we're going to have to do. But anyway, we're going to get straight into the race today. We're going to select P&C as usual. We don't really have a chance of qualifying 3rd or above, but with a little bit of luck, we can usually get up there. Both guys are still happy with the car, so we're going to get into the race weekend now. Practice off camera as usual. Qualifying will be back for Q3, but as we see, engine and rear wing are crucial here. 2 of our better parts, although the suspension's moved above now. It looks like the rear wing slightly dropped as some other teams have started moving above us. As for the engine, Mercedes have now leaped back above us again. We won't be working on the engine until, well, we might be working on it, but we won't be putting a new engine in the car until Milan, which is quite a way down the road, race 10. But we're going to jump into this now, and we'll be back in a second to go over qualifying. So here we go with the first qualifying lap of Q3 here in China. Norris so far has been quicker than his teammate in the first 2 qualifying sessions. He's been about a 1/10 of a second up. Whether he's going to continue that this time around, though, he looks to be pretty decently quick here. He's only 2/10 down on the first sector, which is a little bit better than we've seen, especially in the last race in Doha, where we didn't have the best of qualifying sessions, where Norris was outside the top 10. Norris is slowest out of the cars that have finished a lap at the moment. Ocon is going to come across the line. Is he quicker than his teammate here? Only by about a 1/10 of a second. So Ocon and Norris pretty close. It looks like Wehrlein, Ricciardo and Hülkenberg are pretty quick here as well. Are we going to go drop down below Ricciardo? I'm guessing Ricciardo in that Red Bull is going to be quicker. And Ricciardo goes 6th, pushing us down to 8th and 9th. There has been rain at the end of the qualifying session in both of the other 2 qualifyings in Q1 and Q2. I don't know if that's going to happen here, but we'll possibly get out for another run at the end of the session, and we'll come back and see how we do with that lap. So we're out for the second qualifying lap now. Hamilton is out on used soft tyres, as are Mercedes. They must have used an extra pair of softs at some point, either during practice or in qualifying, which means Hamilton is susceptible now to Vettel getting this pole position from him if he can go any quicker. Ocon, meanwhile, is quicker than his first flying lap here. Can he go quicker? We've got Ricciardo and Bottas within our sights. Can we actually go quicker than them? Ocon goes 7th. He goes quicker than Bottas. Can Norris go quicker than Bottas here? Can he knock off the McLaren? Norris can't. Well, he goes quicker, but not any quicker than Valtteri Bottas, so we go 7th and 9th overall in qualifying. So here we go with the grid for the 2020 Chinese Grand Prix. Hamilton managed to hold on to first position on the grid here. Joining him on the front row is Vettel, who didn't manage to go any quicker. Kevin Magnussen, who did Q3 on a used pair of softs, actually managed to out-qualify Alex Lynn in the Ferrari, Pascal Wehrlein in the Red Bull, beating out his teammate again, Danny Rick, in the other Red Bull. Danny Rick crashed out in the last race, so hopefully he's going to have a better race this time. Esteban Ocon managed to get 7th in front of Valtteri Bottas in the McLaren. Norris was 9th in front of the Renault of Nico Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg didn't have a pair of soft tyres at all. He didn't have a fresh pair of soft tyres to run in Q3 on, which is why he's possibly a long way off the rest of the cars. Stoffel Van Dorn brings up the 6th row of the grid in the McLaren. Max Verstappen in the Force India 12th, seems to be about his position this season. Felix Rosenqvist in the Renault is 13th, Roman Grosjean in the Haas 14th, Perez 15th, Sainz 16th in the Haas, Gasly 17th in the Toro Rosso, Leclerc 18th in the Sauber, and bringing up the rear as usual, Billy Johnson starting on a soft tyre here, as is Pierre Gasly, so Toro Rosso being pretty aggressive from the start here, and Marcus Ericsson bringing up the rear as usual in that Sauber on the hard tyre. So hopefully we can get a decent start here, and if we get away off the line, we've got the 2 Red Bulls in front of us. Can we do that? We've got Bottas starting well, but we managed to get the jump on Danny Rick there. So we're just going to have a quick look here, because these can only do 6 laps. It is a 54 lap race here, so we are, whatever we do, it is pretty much going to be a 3-stop race. It's a 3-stop race whatever we do, and we're possibly going to do a 3-stop. We're going to have to use 2 pair of the hard tyres, because that would be 28, 47 will get us to 53. Even that's going to be, so it's going to have to be a soft, hard, medium, and then finish on a hard. Possibly is going to have to be the strategy with both these cars, especially with the soft tyres at the start only going 6 laps. If we can stretch them out though, maybe a little bit. What's the weather like here? It's 14 degrees, although we do have to look out for rain, although it's coming right at the end of the Grand Prix. It looks like it's coming about lap 40. So should we get onto the hard tyres? Well, we're definitely going to get onto the hard tyres. We're just going to stretch out to lap 40 if we can. I don't think that's possible right from the outset. We can do 20, so we can do 26. If we can go soft, hard, and then stretch out a medium pretty much and get through to lap 40 doing that, that would be what we're aiming for. Meanwhile, Ocon goes quickest in the 2nd sector. A pretty quick lap over that first lap. He's currently behind Daniel Ricciardo. He's actually fallen behind him. Pascal Wehrlein's had a good start, and Hamilton has managed to stay in front of Sebastian Vettel here at the start, and Alex Lynn has dropped the place to Pascal Wehrlein, as we know. Ocon and Norris coming up behind each other. Norris has just managed to get past Nico Hülkenberg, although Hülkenberg regains that position, and Danny Rick has crashed once again. He's binned it on the 2nd lap into the tyres there. Another disappointing race for Daniel Ricciardo. That's 2 crashes in a row. No safety car here. There isn't going to be a safety car that allows us to get off this soft tyre early like we got in the last race when Danny Rick crashed. There was a safety car that came out that allowed us to get off the soft tyre, and everyone else to get off the soft tyre as well. But Norris now starting to fall behind Nico Hülkenberg a little bit. We've got some cars further down the order. The Toro Rossos that started on the soft have managed to move themselves up a little bit, but they're a little bit at a disadvantage against the cars higher up the order. Well, lower down the order, a little bit of a disadvantage over the course of this race, because they're going to have to go for the 3-stop, whereas some of these, if they go hard, they can stretch out until the rain, whether the AI decides to do that. But Norris under pressure here from, who is that? That's Stoffel Van Dorn going past him. He's got Valtteri Bottas right on his tail now. That's his former team. Norris was the development driver at McLaren. We took him out of there. He'd been there for 2 seasons in this game, and we took him away from there, seeing his potential to move on. We're just going to go into recovery mode a little bit now. We've got Ocon, who's pretty much in front of Nico Hülkenberg. He's got a pretty decent gap. He's right on the back of Alex Lynn. Should we push him to get in front of Alex Lynn? His tyres getting pretty cool. We've got past the 6 lap marker that we wanted to get to. Should we push a little bit? We need to conserve with 1, although our cars are far enough apart that we can get in and out of the pit. We've got a little bit of a risk. It's 17%, but the pit crew's still all pretty fresh there. So even though there's a lower risk, we've still kept the air crew on the car at the moment. So should we get in this lap with Ocon? We know we can do that. And should we do it with both cars? Should we push into the pits and get our pit stop under the way? Maybe try and undercut, although I'm guessing a lot of these other cars are going to find themselves coming into the pit. So we're going to get in for this hard tyre to start with. We're going to do 2 pit stops in quick succession here. And hopefully, well, we're going to be fighting down the order as we see Van Dorn coming into the pits. Norris has managed to get past Van Dorn here whilst we're pushing. His tyres just about going to last, so we've got a few cars in the pits. Ocon should get out before Norris gets there. He does, and Ocon as well is coming out. No mistakes on either pit stop, so we're just going to look after these hard tyres now. We want them to get pretty far, although the weather is pretty cool here, so we might have to put some heat in them at some point. But we've come out in front of Hulkenberg with Norris, which is where we wanted. Ocon has managed to get out in front of Alex Lynn here. That was a quick pit stop, has moved him up a position, but he's still behind. Well, he's behind Pascal Wehrlein, who was having a pretty decent race in that Red Bull. We've managed to catch them up at the moment. We do still have Hamilton and Vettel out on track. They're a long way ahead. 20, I don't know how long the pit stop takes here, how long it takes to go through the pit lane. Obviously nowhere near enough for us to catch them, but is Magnussen going to be pretty close to them? 25 seconds back. We'll get a decent idea of where the other cars are. I don't think anyone needs to be fixing their cars here, but Hamilton is into the pits, followed by Sebastian Vettel. He's going to get back out into 6th place. They're getting slowed down a little bit there, and Vettel comes out a little bit lower down than that. So how close are they to Kevin Magnussen? Vettel is only just out in front, although Magnussen, did he come out in a pair of used softs for some reason? Why did he go on a used pair of softs? But Hamilton is a long way forward now from Vettel. Vettel has a lot of traffic to clear before he gets back to Lewis Hamilton. Whereas we're just going to sort of run our race now for a little bit. These hard tyres are going to go a long way in this Grand Prix. Hopefully we can get 20 laps out of them, and then we can switch to a medium, and then we can get on the inters to finish the race on. If we do that, I think that's our best chance of getting back up into the points here. Obviously we've got a lot of cars in front that are going a long way in this Grand Prix. And who is that? Is that Hulkenberg? Did Hulkenberg go into a pair of used soft as well? So Renault have wrecked the race for Nico Hulkenberg as well. We've got Bottas, who came in for a used pair of softs, and Pascal Wehrlein as well. So for some reason, unbeknownst to absolutely anyone, they came in for a pair of used softs, which they've managed to do another 5 laps on, and back into the pits for 2 pit stops within 10 laps for a couple of these guys, also, or 12 laps if they can do it. No, we've got both McLarens into the pits, who will be double stacking here. Bottas and Van Dorn pretty much double stacking for a little bit in the pit, so that's wrecked Van Dorn's race as well. He must have been in on a pair of soft tyres as well. Has he? What did he do? Van Dorn 6 and 5 laps before coming on for a hard tyre. Whether they can stretch that out now. If they could stretch that out, no they can't, because they can only get to lap 32, so that even doesn't make sense that they can stretch it out to the rain. Who knows why, but Ocon is still holding off Alex Lynn here. 9th place for him, 12th for Lando Norris. Carlos Sainz is running in 1st place, but Hamilton's right on his tail, effectively running 1st place. He's got his first pit stop out of the way. But some of these cars do have the ability to shake things up a little bit here. If they run a long race and maybe go for another hard tyre, they might be able to stretch for the rain. If they could do that, they would have a pit stop up and sort of wreck Aero race if some of these cars can do it. If Sainz can stretch out in that Haas and go for a hard tyre and stretch out to the rain, he does have potential to upset us a little bit. But we'll just have to wait there. Wehrlein comes in the Red Bull. He's gone to a medium tyre now, so he's not even going to attempt the hard tyre stretching out. He's going to go medium and then have to make another pit stop. And yeah, so his race effectively ruined as well a little bit here. But Ocon is 7th, Norris 11th. We're just waiting for these other guys around us to make their pit stop so we can get back into the sort of running that we want. We're currently stuck behind Grosjean sort of with Ocon. And Norris is sort of stuck behind, who's that? It's Marcus Ericsson, is it? No. Yep. Norris is behind Marcus Ericsson. Yes, he is. I don't know. I was seeing someone different then. Was it because we were coming past Rosenquist in the pits? But yeah, Norris is behind Ericsson in the Sauber here. Should we try clear him because he's holding up? Maybe get a little bit of heat back in these tyres. If we can try clear Ericsson. And if we try do the same with Ocon, we need to try and clear Roman Grosjean here. Grosjean's slowing down there, almost letting us through like he's a back marker for some reason. And Norris, meanwhile, now has cleared Marcus Ericsson. We're going to try and get a little bit of heat back in these tyres as well. We can always go for another hard tyre if we want to stretch out for the rain, if I don't feel the medium's quite going to make it. So we can push these hard tyres and maybe get some heat back into them. If we try and get these running back in the optimal temperature range, if we just push for a couple of laps now, try and heat these tyres back up. As I said, we can always go hard and try and stretch out that last stint before we get onto the intermediates. We can just stretch out on a hard tyre if we want to. But Ocon is currently running third now. He's ahead of Alex Lynn. He's got a 4-second gap back to Alex Lynn. Norris, meanwhile, running a 5th place. He's just managed to jump Leclerc as well, who hasn't been into the pits. Magnussen is only 10 seconds behind, having done 2 pit stops. He's doing pretty well considering Mercedes have pretty much wrecked his race. He could have been in, well, he was in position for a podium. As it's worked out pretty well for Esteban Ocon here, because he's moved up a little bit, and it looks like Norris is getting right on the back of Alex Lynn here, because we're pushing this tyre, because we can push it if we want to. We only need to get to about lap 40 on another pair of hard tyres. So should we push Norris all out here to get in track position over Alex Lynn? That might be the best option if we just push the car all out and try and get this move made on Alex Lynn here. Esteban Ocon, meanwhile, what sort of lap times we're doing? 57.8. We're actually a second quicker than the Ferrari in front, and Norris is quicker than this Ferrari of Alex Lynn. It's just whether we can get past him. So should we go into overtake mode as we head down the long pit straight here? Have we got the speed to overtake this Ferrari? We have. Norris looks to have made this move. Can he make it stick? We should get the run out of the corner. No, we slow down. Can we make it stick here? Looks like Norris has finally got the run as we hit a little bit of a straight there. And we're just going to go back into neutral on these tyres, back into that. We're just going to make these tyres last for a little bit now. Neither of our cars are close enough that we would double stack if we came into the pits. Is Norris going to get away from Alex Lynn here if we just run as we are? We're in a position where we can go for another hard tyre. We're not going to get onto the medium tyre at all now, because we've pushed a little bit to try and get track position. We were held up behind the, especially with Norris, we were sort of held up behind the Saubers, and the Ferrari as well holding us up a little bit. Alex Lynn, whilst he's having a decent race, really what you'd expect from a performance in the Ferrari, not really having that great of a race. He should be staying out in front of us, but we can just run these hard tyres all the way into the ground now, so we might as well just keep these in attack mode as we try to recover a little bit of fuel now as we start to head into our pit window. We've possibly got maybe another lap after this one before we decide to come into the pits. 20%. We'll just see what we use as we go around here. Vettel has come in early. He's gone for a medium tyre. That medium can't do 17 laps, although it could do if you held on to it, if you looked after it. But I've got a feeling that maybe the hard tyre, pushing the hard tyre, might be a little bit quicker than going for the medium. Norris can't do it because, although he could do, I'm in sort of two minds here about the medium and the hard tyre. Should we hold off here? So what sort of lap time were we doing? We've used, if we switch back to neutral, we should get a good idea of the lap times, because we might be able to do another lap after this one. If we just switch back, we're just going to see what sort of lap we're doing. 58. What is anyone doing on a fresh pair of mediums? We're not going to know until the next lap, and that might be too much of a lap down. We might actually run out of the tyre, although we're holding on to this hard tyre now. Is it going to be worth us switching to the hard tyre? Should we just get into the pits and get pushing again on this hard tyre? We can easily get through to the point where the rain's coming on this hard tyre. It's going to be a little touch and go with the medium. No, we're going to go medium. We'll stretch it out here. We'll stretch it. We'll have to stay neutral on it because the weather's pretty cold. But we'll keep Norris out this extra lap. We've got enough in the tyre just about to get around. So what did Vettel do? A 56. So that medium tyre, although he's pushing that all out at the moment. It's a little bit of a difficult one. Norris has been caught up, meanwhile, by Hamilton and Vettel. Lynn, meanwhile, where is Lynn? He's come out on a pair of soft tyres, so he's going to have to make another stop before the rain comes. So Norris, should we just get him on the hard tyre, and then we'll just see which was the better strategy to go for? Because we'll be able to attack on the hard tyre, and we'll be able to see who puts in the quicker lap times between him and Ocon. Where are we going to get out? We should be behind Ocon, and we're just behind Sainz and Verstappen, but they do have to pit before the rain comes. Hopefully we can clear them pretty quickly. Sainz might be a little bit tricky, although we say that. We make the move pretty easily on sight. We've got Max Verstappen in our sights now. Can we close him down? Ocon, meanwhile, what sort of lap time is he doing? As we enter lap 27, we're at the halfway point of this race. There is 9 seconds between the two teammates, so we're going to get a good idea of which strategy was the best one to go for here, which will help us out in the future. So we're just waiting for the race to move on a little bit. We're waiting to clear Verstappen as well. Should we try push the fuel a little bit here, just to try clear Verstappen? It's possibly holding us up. He's on that used pair of medium tyres. We want to clear him because he's possibly holding up a tiny little bit. And yeah, we don't want Norris to get held up. He's going to be coming into the pits the next lap, which will work out for us as well. Norris is doing 57.9, so pretty equal with the tyres at the moment, but obviously the mediums will wear away a little bit quicker as we see Verstappen dive into the pit. So 57.9, Norris a little bit quicker than Ocon at this point in the Grand Prix, although we do still have a little bit of room to push with Ocon. Maybe he can get pushing. So what is it at the moment? It's still this 9 seconds at the moment. We'll check back on that in a couple of laps times. Meanwhile, we're going to get Ocon pushing. He's gone a little bit quicker this lap. These tyres will start to get overheated of Norris at some point, but we're still just waiting for that rain to come. About 10 laps away, so we should be able to make this medium stretch until that point. This medium's got about another 9 laps in it, whereas this hard tyre has another 13 in it. So we can just keep pushing all out with Norris. He's currently running 4th place. Ocon on course for a podium. Hamilton's made this second pit stop. We go past him with Ocon. Hamilton has gone on to a fresh medium tyre. Norris, meanwhile, is going to be right on the back of him here, but we're not going to be quick enough to get in front of Hamilton. Lynn, meanwhile, will be coming into the pit soon. Carlos Sainz has finally made his first pit stop, but Lynn is out on this soft tyre, which is degrading pretty quickly. So it looks like we should be able to keep these places. I don't know whether we're going to be able to keep Lewis Hamilton behind us. That is another question entirely. Ocon's doing 57.6, a 57.2 from Norris. That gap between the two teammates is now 8 seconds, so Norris is catching up a little bit as we move into the second half of this Grand Prix. Still waiting for the rain. So what is Hamilton doing? We won't have an idea of what Hamilton's doing until we move on a few laps. But Norris is managing to hang on to Hamilton here. He's 2 seconds behind, although we're going to start seeing him falling because Hamilton's... well, he's pushing. He's not really pushing the fuel. We're going to have to go in recovery mode at some point, but we don't really have to go into recovery mode with the fuel until the rain comes and we get onto... yeah, we know, but we can just keep pushing on these hard tyres. The gap is 6.5 seconds at the moment, although Ocon's going to be speeding up because we've got a little bit of room to push with his fuel. Although we know we'll just keep it the same. We'll just keep that as it is because we know once we've been into the pit, then we can push on the intermediates. We can get going a little bit quicker whilst we're on the inters. We usually perform pretty well in the rain. But we go 4th. We've got back markers to lap now with Norris. He's coming onto the back of Pierre Gasly here. Toro Rosso not having the best of races again. Meanwhile, Sauber look to be up in the points. If Leclerc can make that soft stretch until the rain, he's going to be in a good position because Verstappen. Magnussen's getting in for this medium tyre. Only 5 laps before the rain's coming, if even that. This medium tyre is about to go now, so we're going to have to conserve that as well at the moment. This hard tyre's still got a lot of life in it. It is a 6-second gap now, so Norris has closed up that gap by 3 seconds, that 9-second gap that Ocon had. So it looks like this hard tyre strategy worked out a little bit better, although we've been able to push the fuel with Norris a little bit. So we'll get pushing. We'll give Ocon a lap in overtake mode just until the rain comes in, so it sort of evens up what they've been doing. This medium can go to around 10% before we have to get off it, so we can well just about stretch out to the rain here. It's going to be coming pretty soon though. We started to see some cars coming for the inters. Vettel's coming for the inters already, so if we can stretch out on this medium and keep out on this tyre, and especially with this, if we can cool this down and keep Norris on this, he's baked this tyre. He's under pressure, but if we can stay out, I don't think we're going to be able to stay out long enough. That Vettel is going to be too hampered by this intermediate that is out on at the moment. But Ocon is there as well in first place because Vettel is in the pits. We're not going to get that 20-second gap that we want, though. Are we slowing down this lap? Would we still be quicker on this tyre, or should we get in now for this intermediate? I think we're going to have to do it because that intermediate, this medium tyre that we're on, is pretty degraded at the moment. We're going to get pushing into the pits though, and with Norris, should we get him in this lap, he could possibly do another lap. Is he actually pulling away? Well, he won't be pulling away the lap after this, so we might as well get him off these hard tyres on for the Inter. And then we can see we get both cars in and out of the pits. Decent pit stops. Vettel goes past. He's still in front of Ocon. But what can these intermediate tyres do? They can do 15 laps, so we can afford to push these intermediates in the early going here. Although just for maybe a lap, and that would be about it. But Vettel is now on used Inters. Can he go far enough into this Grand Prix to avoid another pit stop here? Will Ocon get the win? Obviously we've got Hamilton behind us, who is always super quick. So we're just going to conserve with the tyres for a little bit now. Norris does have to recover this fuel. He's quite a way in front of Magnussen, who's still on the wrong tyre here. So it looks like Norris is going to keep this 4th place. Obviously we're not going to be able to catch Hamilton, Ocon or Vettel there. So we're going to concentrate on Ocon for the last 14 laps of this race or so. Vettel is starting to pull away. We just need to keep touch with him in case he pits, because Hamilton looks to have a problem with his car as well. So whether he's going to pit again before the end of the race, and Mercedes struggling for reliability here in the early going, and whether Ferrari have made a cock-up with their strategy, whether they're going to have to get off this intermediate and do another stop before the end of the race. If we can just hang on to this Inter until the end of the race, we'll move on a little bit, because there's not much happening. It doesn't look like Hamilton's able to catch us at the moment. It looks like we're actually lapping maybe a little bit quicker than Hamilton if we just move around so we can get the lap times here. Although he seemed to have picked up on that last lap, did Hamilton, just as we said that. But we can just keep pushing here with Ocon. We're within that 5-second distance to Sebastian Vettel, obviously. We're just hoping that he needs to pit. Hamilton is sort of catching us, but then again, not. He's starting to fall back again now as we complete another lap. We do a 57.7 to Hamilton, so we're actually quicker on that last lap. Norris, meanwhile, what's he doing? He's 58.5, so he's a little bit slower at the moment. And yeah, we just keep hanging on at the moment and hope, fingers crossed, that Vettel is going to have to make a pit stop. He's done currently 8 laps on this tyre, and he's gone more than halfway through this tyre. And he's got problems with his car now, problems developing with the Ferrari car of Sebastian Vettel. Lewis Hamilton has fallen back drastically now. He's started to lap about over half a second slower. So if we can just hang on here, we might as well just switch back into medium mode, conserve what we can here. We've obviously got a chance with Norris as well to pass Vettel. Norris does have a chance of a podium if Vettel does indeed make that pit stop. So we're going to get Norris pushing for a little bit here as well, see if we can keep this gap going to Vettel at the front. It's about 14 seconds, which would put us out in front of Vettel. If Vettel does repair his parts, so when he comes in, we're going to be gifted 2 podiums here if we see Vettel come into the pits. It's just a question though. We're a long way in front of the rest of the field here with our 2 Williams car. What would that do at the moment? Esteban Ocon at the moment would still be second. Norris would move up to 5th, and we would go back into the lead like after the first race of the season in the Constructors' Championship. Although at this stage of the season, it's just because we're a little bit more reliable than the cars around us. Obviously Mercedes and Ferrari should come back strong as this season moves on. But as it is, are we going to see Vettel has chosen not to pit yet? These tyres are pretty worn away, although the Inters I think can get down to 10%. So are we going to see Vettel come in this lap? He's set up. Vettel is coming into the pits. Is Hamilton going to pit anytime soon as well? It doesn't look like it. But Ocon once again could be on for a race win here. It looks like Vettel might be spending quite a bit of time in the pits, as we'll just watch Ocon go through into 1st place. Is Vettel fixing a lot of parts? No, he hasn't fixed his parts. He's got back out hoping to stay up the order here. He gets back out into 3rd place, and Hamilton has pitted as well. Hamilton has pitted. They've still got problems with their car. We've got 5 or so laps to go. We've got Norris and Ocon currently leading this race. So we're just going to dial back here a little bit. We've got room to push with Ocon. Is Norris far enough ahead that he can retain this 2nd place? He's far enough ahead of Hamilton, but are we quicker than Vettel enough here to get to the end of the race on this tyre? We know it can get to 10%, so we'll just sort of keep an eye on what we're using. And we've got problems with the gearbox on Norris once again. We're not even going to risk it. Where would we be if we actually came in to fix that part? We'd get back out into 4th place. Is it worth it to try and hang on to the 1-2 here? If we just... Oh, and we've got a problem with the engine with Ocon as well. We've got problems with our car. Oh, we're going to be cost... Are we going to... Oh, we are, aren't we? We're going to be cost this 1-2 result here by one of these parts failing. 4 laps remaining. Can we make this hang on? Are the tyres going to last? We're going to get into conserve mode here as well. Just for a little bit, just to make sure we can make these tyres last till the end of the race. Norris currently 2.5 seconds in front of Vettel. He's lapping quite quicker than us. Vettel is pushing all out on that intermediate tyre. Although he doesn't have the fuel at the moment. We could easily get back out into 4th place with Norris if we came in and fixed the car. But that gearbox hasn't seemed to be dropping over the last lap, although since it's in the red zone it can just rapidly drop. The engine is hanging on here for Esteban Ocon. Have we got the tyres though to get through to the end? We've only got 2 laps to go. Norris meanwhile is under pressure from Vettel. I knew we possibly wouldn't be able to hold on to that. Vettel is a lot quicker and we're just hanging on to these tyres at the moment. We're alright with the fuel. We can't really push the engine in high mode with Ocon. He's far enough up the road. We lose that position to Vettel. Vettel's going to go flying off in the distance. But has Hamilton pitted again? Hamilton has pitted again. So we could get Norris into the pits because he's going to come back out in 3rd place. Just to make sure that he doesn't retire before the end of the race, he is going to get back out into 3rd place. So we cannot actually get him into the pits. We can't actually risk that with Ocon though, because we want to keep him there for the win. If we pitted Ocon, he would come out in 3rd place behind Norris. So we're going to hold on with Ocon here. Is Vettel closing in on him just by over a second, so there's not enough time for him to get back there. But Norris can get into the pits here, repair his gearbox, make sure it's not going to fail on that last lap of the race, get in and out of the pits, still be in 3rd place, as 4th place Alex Lynn is a long way back here. Hopefully there's going to be no mistake on repairing here. So there we go, back out. Are we back out into 3rd? Alex Lynn's only just coming round the last corner, so we get back out in front. Now we can push this car. We've got a little bit of fuel to push. We've got no problems here. Ocon, his tyres just about going as he comes across the line, but he holds on there 10%. Pretty well worked with that intermediate tyre there. Manages to hold on to that 1st place. Norris, we just pitted him because we had the free pit stop. There was no chance of him losing position to Alex Lynn. He's going to come around now. He's going to finish this lap and he's going to finish 3rd. Both cars on the podium here in China. An absolutely outstanding race. Hamilton having real problems, having to make 6 pit stops there. Lynn making 5 pit stops. We've got Bottas making 6, Van Dorn, Verline making 7 pit stops. The reliability or the tyre management just not there with the AI at the moment. Scrutineering, there shouldn't be any problems here. And there it is, a massive points haul. Ocon 1st, Norris 3rd. Absolutely amazing result for us. Moves Norris up to 5th. Esteban Ocon now has a 14-point lead over Lewis Hamilton, although as we've seen, Hamilton and Vettel are so much quicker than our cars. If they don't have reliability problems, we don't have much chance of holding nearby them or just holding the pace behind them. Ocon, if they get in front, Vettel and Hamilton would pull away, but Alex Lynn currently beating his teammate here. And if we look at the Constructors' Championship, 89 points. We're leading by a little bit of a margin at the moment. I wouldn't expect us to hold on to that as the seasons, or as this season moves on here, because they're going to improve their reliability and we're just not going to be able to hold on to that, because some of it's down to the reliability, some of it's down to what they chose with the tyres. We're not always going to have the wet weather that we can work around. We gained a little bit of money there, although then we lost a little bit of money with paying out bonuses for Ocon winning the race. And as we move on, we'll just get this out of the way. No one there that's any improvement, so we'll just move on to the interview. Mercedes team had a bit of a disaster. We'll just say that one because that keeps him buttered up, in case I do feel like we could make a move for Lewis. I think his contract is up with Mercedes at the end of this season. It is. So Vettel, Hamilton Alonso's only on a 1-year contract as well. Max Verstappen's only on a 1-year contract with Red Bull as well, with Force India, and Bottas. So there's Bottas, Verstappen, Alonso, Hamilton and Vettel, whose contracts are all up at the end of the season and who could be moving teams. Roman Grosjean as well with the Haas, he could be moving. Scott Dixon's contract's up with Chip Ganassi as well, he could be moving. Is there anyone else? Alexander, no, he's not up. Who else is there? Anyone around IndyCar? Will Power's contract's up as well, so he could be moving from IndyCar across and Hulkenberg up with Renault. So next season there's going to be a lot of driver movement. We've got Pierre Gasly, Kevin Magnussen's Mercedes contract's up as well. So there's a lot of contracts, so there's going to be some big changes going into the next season, maybe with the driver lineups, considering the AI only usually moves drivers around once their contracts are up. But as it is, we're still on this amazing start to the season. We've got those new front wings ready to go in the car for the next Grand Prix. I'm going to work on the performance of those and hopefully get them up to scratch. Maybe we can get the rear... No, I can't, because I've got to focus on the reliability of these rear wings first. Hopefully get those up to scratch. So if they are, we might have a decent race in Tondela. Otherwise, we might have a car that's not too reliable. We're going to have to be fixing the rear wing at some point during the race, but we'll just have to see how that goes in the next episode. So if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, comment. But until then, I'll see you down the road in Portugal for the Tondela Grand Prix, and goodbye.